Welcome to Peculiar Stories. Whether you're new here or simply joining us again, we're thrilled to have you on this journey. We explore the fascinating world of near-death experiences and offer new perspectives on the meaning of life and death. Our goal is to shed light on these profound stories, deepen your understanding of life, and provide valuable insights to our audience. If you enjoy what we do, consider subscribing to our channel to stay updated on our latest content. And don't forget to hit the like button to help our content reach a wider audience. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be transported to the edge of life and beyond. My name is Jennifer Vincent. This is my story. An automobile accident caused my NDE at the age of 11. Throughout the encounter, I was given precise instructions on how to help another person who was in a car accident. I felt like I'd returned home. Then I thought to myself, thank God I'm back. I knew I was correct. I knew I was from heaven. I was talking with the most beautiful spiritual entity at the time, and I had the impression that I was in the presence of the spirit. It only let me see it from the right side and over my right shoulder. I believe I encountered and conversed with the Spirit of Christ. It was too flawless to be anything else. I apologize, but you must return, he said. This infuriated me right away, and I refused to accept. No, you have no idea how much anguish there down there, or how difficult it is to live there. No way. No, how am I going back there? The warmth of the sun is the nicest sensation that any infant or adult could ever have. No drug or fix on the planet, such as extreme sports or anything else you can think of, will ever feel so fantastic. It is lovely when you feel it surrounding you. This is what I was feeling. I could likewise fly and flew up into the heavens. I don't recall how I knew, but I simply knew it was me. I could still see myself and believe it. Yet, I was shown my body below, in the plane where I knew there was a line connecting here and there. I could see my weak and lifeless corpse being flung over the car's driver. I was asked, how about now? Can you see why you need to return? No. You know I'm not happy down there. And you know this is my request, my one dream answered. Since I left to go down there, I've been asking to come back here, home. I can't take it anymore, and I'm not going back. The voice then says to me, Jennifer, you must return and assist. And I refused. The speaker then stated that his nose had been severed from his face and that you must return to assist him. He's dying of blood loss. No, let someone else do it, I responded. He'll be okay without my assistance. I don't want to go back down there. I will tell you what to do, replied the voice. Once you pick up his nose off the floorboard of the car, you take off his shirt, which will be next to your feet. To stop the bleeding, place his nose on his face and press it down. It's just blood, so don't be afraid. I'll be there for you as always. From the time I was a child, I was aware that I was never alone. Jennifer, you will begin to walk him up the right side of the road and a car will come. Request the man to take you to the nearest hospital, stated the voice. Maintaining the man's calm, proceed to the ECM hospital where you were born. You know the way, and everything will be okay. This is something you must do. Do you get it? No, I shouted. I'm not going back down there. No, no, no. The speaker then says, you must think of your mother, Jennifer, and what your death would do to her. No, I replied. I don't mind since I know you love her and she'll be fine. There is no way I am returning. So I said, aw, darn, okay. I'll reluctantly agree. But damn it, it's so unjust. But you know I'll fight for you. If you must send me back, I will accompany you. Okay. I will follow your instructions since I love you. And I will be with you again someday. But I will never forget this. I'm back in my body. Swoosh! I stand up and look around, amazed at how lovely my physique was still. I checked myself out and remarked, okay, I like it. Nothing harmed here. Now on with my task. Yes, I recall what you said just before I was yanked back into my body. You stated that I had to return because I still had work to do down here. I am not finished. Now where is this poor man's nose? Yeah, I've got to get him out of that shirt first, and don't worry, my friend. I'll lift and carry you up this path. I needed your shirt to hold your face to mine. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Everything is under control now that I have you. Believe me, I know God and Jesus. Now we've got you a ride. He's pulling up now. Just be still and calm while I get this poor fellow who appears to be terrified to take us to ECM hospital. We're simply a 10-minute drive away. I assure you that everything will be okay. I told the man who was driving us, "Look, gentlemen, just keep your eyes on the road, at least until we all got to the hospital." And he said, "Lady, he's bleeding and dying in my car." He was crying, and the man driving the car who stopped to help us was plainly terrified. So I'll simply keep talking to them both, reassuring them and keeping them calm, promising them that if we follow my instructions, everything would be okay. "Please," I said, "I know what I'm doing." Which I'm sure seemed unusual coming from an 11-year-old female who was clearly calm and in control, despite having no CPR training or expertise in these topics. But I did, if you catch my drift. It's just another day in paradise, right? The emergency department specialist successfully attached the nose and then grafted skin from his hip, and this guy heals completely, with nary a mark to be seen. So the emergency department doctor asks my mother where her daughter got her amazing CPR training and how she knew exactly what to do at such a young age. "She has no experience of any kind," my mother observed, shaking her head. "Okay, I placed 2 stitches into the top of her skull. She may have a minor cut, but nothing to worry about, so just observe her for the next 24 hours, the doctor explained. "Keep an eye on her tonight, and keep an eye out for a concussion." I am a medical doctor, and I cannot explain what type of miracle I just witnessed in this emergency room today, especially what came out of your little girl's mouth, he continued. And the manner she saved this guy's life while also calming everyone around her is incredible, just incredible. I returned home and apologized to God and Jesus for being so selfish, pleading with them to forgive me. I'll do better while I'm down here since I know you're always there for me. And you've always been there for me, and I'll never die or be alone, here or elsewhere. I was grateful for the experience, yet I was still homesick and lonely. As I had always been prior to the vehicle accident, which occurred for no apparent cause on a bright, gorgeous sunny day. We just drove over the road and into a telephone pole because there was no one else in sight for miles. Eventually, when I was approximately 30 years old, I met my father's brother in a local pharmacy where I was working at the time. He had just been pronounced dead in ECM hospital of all places. After my NDE, I took the guy from the car wreck to the same hospital where I was born. My uncle was ecstatic and seemed anxious to tell the pharmacist his story. I was hired under his name at the time, Jason. I had never met this uncle before meeting him in the pharmacy that day. I was working my way through college while also writing all of the term papers on ESP and NDE that I was allowed to write. Because both of these exceptional gifts have had such an impact on my life, I approached Jason and asked if he might tell me about his NDE for a college paper I was working on. That was something he agreed to do. He claimed to have awoken in the morgue 15 minutes after being declared dead, and that he had returned from the other side after being granted permission. He came down from heaven to apologize to his family for not being a better person to them, but he said he loved life there, and he expressed his eagerness to return. He remembers being able to fly and having all of his fantasies come true there, and he thought it was fantastic. And I replied, "Yes, I know." He stated that he intended to return in 3 months. He died again 3 months later. This time will be different. Then a second customer, a long-standing acquaintance and pharmacy customer, walks into the business one day with essentially the same narrative. So I asked him to share his experience, and he too had returned to make amends with his wife and son for being unkind to them. Yet before he died, he claimed to have flown across his ideal farm and land. Both of these men had mentioned the gorgeous green grass over there, as well as the incredible sentiments that no human could possibly describe. This man's name was Jack, and my father, coincidentally, had another brother named Jack. So Jack told me that he loved heaven as well as flying, and that he wanted to return as soon as possible, and that he would leave in approximately 3 months. So he died 3 months later and went to the other side. I'm sure he enjoys his flying and his idyllic farmland. When I was in my late 40s, I hired a tutor to help me with my algebra, and we rapidly became great friends. We spent a lot of time together and never got romantically involved, but we were as close as 2 people could be. I referred to it as spiritual love friendship. I resolved never to let our friendship turn into anything else, and Joe agreed. Joe was the twin brother of Jackie, one of my greatest friends from 2nd grade. I informed Joe about my NDE one day. Joe was overjoyed and amazed, and for the first time in my life, I met someone who wanted to know every detail, and he made me vow that it was all true. He adored it, and stated that he would die first, like his father and one of his brothers before him. I replied, "No way, Joe, because I'm sick and undergoing surgery right now, and you're young and healthy." Nonetheless, my mother used to say that she would live to see the biblical revelation's holy conflict begin or end. And my mother predicted that I would die at the age of 41, and she would laugh about it. So I promised Joe that I would be the first to die, at the age of 41, and that from heaven, I shall play practical jokes on him. You remember this debate, Joe? And if you pledge that you believe in God and Jesus, and that you know them as you have said, and that you know I can fly, I added, I guarantee you that I shall die at the age of 41. I just want to see your face if all of this comes true, and you, Jennifer, may make floral arrangements with blue for my burial, he laughed. So I agreed and said, Joe, if you die at 41, send me the Publishers Clearinghouse van with a $10 million check, because with all my medical costs, I sure could need it. Laughing. I forgot about it until last June 2007, when Joe sat down at the age of 41 and died without warning, save for what we had discussed over 16 years before. And after his death, Joe played every practical joke he could think of on me. Suddenly I remembered our contract. Likewise, my father and his sister were admitted to the hospital 3 years ago, and it was the same ECM hospital where I was born. They both had many NDEs, and my aunt, my father's sister, informed me that when she went back over, all of her people were there, simply waiting for her. She told me stuff about my personal life that she had no way of knowing at the time. She was older and hadn't spoken to me in many years, and she hadn't seen my father in a couple of years either. She did, however, tell me about her own NDE, so I didn't need to ask her how she saw my house from over there. And everything was all ready and lovely. She also informed me the exact order in which she and her spouse died, and of the deaths of my father, mother, and brother. And sure, they all happened in the order she revealed to me from her hospital bed at ECM Hospital. To cut a long story short, if there are just 774 each day in the United States, that is good, because I don't have much more time for this. It's as if I've become a magnet for NDEs, and when people are dying of cancer or whatever else, and they're frightened about leaving this physical world, they appear to be a lot happier whenever I visit their hospital room, or wherever the individual may be. This is something their families usually tell me. When I required another surgery, I received a $50 payment from a friend who died of cancer. Then, after attending his burial, I received the check and a letter from Donald instructing me to utilize the money to get well, so that I may stay and serve others by simply remaining honest and down to earth. Well, I am now down to earth and quite grounded, and I'll be for a long time. It's just a gut instinct. Jenny. Watch this NDE next about a man who was paralyzed until God said this to him, which he then started walking again. It's a remarkable experience.